everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a lovely day today. So for today's video, I'm gonna finally be updating you guys on my Pan That palette, and it's been a while since I updated you guys. Honestly, it's because I just haven't really been doing makeup a lot. I also obviously haven't been filming videos because of me having a baby and all that good stuff, which if I haven't already posted the video, I should have done, like a get ready with me telling you about my birth story and stuff like that. But yeah, if I have filmed that video, I'll leave it up in the cards. If not, you've got that to look forward to. But anyway, let's get straight into this because I can't even remember where I left off last time. So the palette that I have been trying to pan is the Sofa X Revolution palette, which was the original palette that they collabed on. And if you guys have been keeping up to date with my life and the videos on my channel, I recently had a baby, so obviously I haven't been updating you guys on this project very much, and that is because obviously I had a baby, so I haven't been filming videos. I also haven't really been wearing makeup, so there wasn't a whole lot to update you guys on. But I feel like now if I update you guys now, then I can kind of get back into my makeup wearing and makeup uses, obviously a little bit better, because I'm kind of on my feet a little bit more now. I feel like I have the time to do makeup a little bit more now. So yeah, that all being said, let's get into this update because I've actually filmed this 3 times and had problems every single time. So if I look like I'm going insane, it's because I literally am. So I will throw up a clip of what the palette was looking like in the previous update, because honestly I can't even remember at this point what it looked like. And then this is what the palette is looking like now. So obviously 2 new pans, which is super exciting. And yeah, I guess let's just get straight on into this update because there's a lot to update you guys on. I obviously didn't use every single shade, but I've made progress in a fair few shades, so let's get into it. So the first shade I have to update you guys on is this white shade here, which is called Penguin, which is the first shade that we've hit pan on. Hopefully you can see that little tiny baby pan there. I know it's only a small pan, but it's still pan nonetheless. So I used this shade 10 times since the last update, and it took me 8 uses to hit pan. And I have used this shade 32 times total since starting this project. And yeah, hopefully we can just hit pan even more and hopefully eventually empty the shade, although it is a white, so I only really use it like sparingly, but still. So the shade next to that obviously has quite a big pan, but I did only use it 3 times since the last update, which makes for a total of 20 uses since the start of the project. And I think I will just like organically or naturally, I don't know what the best word is, will empty that shade on its own because it's a very like my skin tone kind of a shade, so it's quite nice to just blend out other shades with. So yeah, I think I will probably, that will be one of the shades that will be completely empty by the end of the year. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. So let's move on to the next shade, which is Fairy Lights, which obviously also, if you can see, I know the lighting is a little bit terrible, has quite a big pan in it as well. I use this as my inner corner and brow bone shade, and sometimes I'll use it on my lid, but most of the time that's what I use it for. So I used this shade 9 times since the previous update, which makes for 39 total uses, which is quite a lot. I pretty much use this every single time I do eyeshadow. But yeah, that pan will just keep growing and growing and growing. I don't know if I'll actually empty that because I use such a small amount of it, but yeah, I will try. So the shade next to that is Pink Champagne, and I only used that shade twice since the last update, which makes for 6 total uses. I don't know if it's a shade that I'll actually hit pan on unless I focus on it, because I don't often wear pink eyeshadow, but I will hopefully get some use on it in one of the months or one of the updates at least before the end of the year. Next to that we have this huge pan, which is Iced Coffee. So I used this shade 4 times since the previous update, which does make for a total of 20 uses, so that is getting plenty of use. I do think again this will be one of the shades that I hopefully empty because I reach for it a lot as like a crease shade, or like a shade to mix it in with other shades. So I think I will like just empty that shade on its own. So yeah, let's just move on to the next shade, which was my focus shade, and that is Cup of Tea, which as you can hopefully see I did hit pan on, and obviously it has grown quite a lot. That pan has got quite a lot bigger, so it only took me 2 uses to hit pan on Cup of Tea. but I used it 8 times since the last update, which makes for 22 total uses. And yeah, I'm just going to hopefully keep expanding that pan, and I'm glad I had it as a focus shade because I don't think I'd have made that much progress on it if I hadn't have had it as a focus shade. So yeah, I'm really glad that I decided to do that, and I actually really like that shade. I have it actually on my eyes today, but it's kind of being covered by glitter at the minute, so yeah. So then on the next line we have this shade here, which is Grow Old, and I'm just going to quickly skip past this one. I didn't use it this month, or since the last update, I guess I should say, but I have used it 8 times in total since starting this project, but obviously nothing to update you guys on. Then the shade next to that is called Sparks Fly. I only used it once since the last update, so there really isn't going to be anything kind of different looking in the pan, but although I used it the once, I have used it 5 times total, so I do really need to amp my use up on that shade a lot before the year ends. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to have that as like a focus shade at some point. So I'm going to move on to the shade next to that, which is Smoky Bronze, which I only used once, so again there's really not going to be any kind of change that you can see in the pan. I have used it 9 times total, so again I'm probably going to have this as like a focus shade at some point. I'm thinking that maybe like the autumnal months, that would probably be a better shade to have as a focus shade, but for right now the use is slow on that one. Then the shade next to that is this beautiful purple shimmer here, which is Mixed Berries, and sadly I have never used this shade, so I didn't use it since the last update, and I haven't used it at all since having the palette, to be honest. So I really need to have this as a focus shade at some point, otherwise it's literally going to be brand new by the end of the year, and I can't have that in a pan, that palette, I just can't. The shade next to that is obviously the biggest pan we have in this palette, and that is Tiramisu. However, I did only use it once since the previous update, but I have used it 7 times total, so I'm thinking that this shade will probably get used up quite like naturally, and I don't think I'll have to focus on it too much. Then the shade next to that is Peaches. I've used it once and I've used it 3 times total, so I feel like I could really do with amping my use up on that one a little bit as well, because we're really not seeing a whole load of difference in that shade. So then the next shade was actually a focus shade, and I'm actually really disappointed in myself, to be honest. So this shade is Cloudberry, and I only used this shade 3 times since the last update, which for a focus shade is honestly terrible. I've used it 4 times total, so yeah, I'm kind of gutted with myself, if I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't even try with this shade, and there's not a whole ton of difference. Maybe you can see a tiny bit more of an indent, but yeah, really not a whole ton of difference on that. I really needed to work a little bit harder on that one. So then the shade next to that is Pumpkin, which I did not use at all this month, and I have not used it since starting this project, so again another shade I really need to work a little bit harder on. Then the shade next to that is Pine Tree, which I again did not use this update, and I haven't used it at all this project, so again another shade I really need to focus on, and honestly I think that will be a really nice like autumnal shade, so we will hopefully get some use on that soon. The shade next to that is Petrol, which again I have not used this update. Honestly, I kind of skipped out on most of the palette this past update. So Petrol I have only used once in this project, so again it's another shade that I really need to amp my use up on. Then we have Pug, which again I didn't use this update. Starting to sound a little bit repetitive at this point, but Pug I have used 6 times since starting this project. The shade next to that is Danger, which again I didn't use this update, and I've only used it once since starting this project, so that is another shade that I really need to get some use on. So then moving on to the final row of shadows. So this is Strawberry Sweets, which I have only used once. I know, terrible. I have used it 3 times total, which is still terrible. I really need to get some more use on this. But yeah, nothing really to update you guys on there. The shade next to that is Festive Flame, that I have not used this update and I haven't used since starting the project, so definitely one that I need to get a bit of use on. I'm honestly surprised because it's definitely a shade that I would used to have worn like back in the day, so I'm surprised I haven't like gravitated towards it just for like nostalgia reasons, but yeah, nothing to update you guys on. The shade next to that is Coppercorn, which again I didn't use this update. I have used it twice since starting the project, and honestly I'm surprised because I do really like this shade. I definitely need to use it more. I feel like I just go for like full matte looks, which is why the shimmers are getting massively neglected, but I need to stop that and get some use on them. Then the next shade here is Mug Cake, which I only used 4 times since the last update, but I have used it 15 times altogether, so it is getting use. I mostly just use this for like winged liner. So yeah, hopefully I will be able to expand that pan a bit more and hopefully use it a bit more on my lids to make the pan expand a little bit more, because obviously when I'm using just like an angled brush, it's only really like focusing on a certain area. It's not really like wearing down the pan, like all of the pan, if that makes sense. It's just kind of one area. So yeah, hopefully I can use this like more on the eyes. But yeah, not a whole ton to update you guys on. I bet the pan has just expanded a teeny tiny bit, but nothing crazy. But yeah, let's move on to the next shade. So the next shade is Rosewood. I did not use it this update. I have used it 3 times since starting this project. But yeah, definitely a shade I need to get a little bit more use on. And then the shade next to that is Nightmare, which is obviously a black, which I really don't think I'm going to hit pan on. I'm going to be honest. I would just like to get like a fair amount of uses on it. I've used it twice since starting the project, and hopefully I can get more use on it. I'm thinking hopefully I'll get more use on this in like the Halloween months, when I start doing like Halloween makeup ideas and like practicing Halloween makeup on my daughter. Hopefully I will get a bit more use on it then. But that is everything I have to update you guys on. So give me a minute. I'll quickly pick another 2 focus shades, and yeah, hopefully we can have another 2 pans in the next update. But let me go pick the shades first. So I think I've decided on the shades that I want to focus on in the next update. So I usually do my updates every 2 months. That's what I aim to do. So I'm going to aim to do that again. I can't quite remember the date I used to update these on, so I'm going to go back and check, but I feel like it was like mid-month that I used to update you guys on this. But yeah, I do it every 2 months. So for the next 2 months, the 2 shades I've decided to focus on is actually the purple shade, which is Mixed Berries, I believe. So I know I'm not going to hit pan on this, but I at least want to get it used. It is pretty much, I believe, the only shade that I've never used apart from this green, but I think I have swatched this green before, but this purple shade has genuinely never been touched, so that can't happen. So I am definitely going to try and get as much use on this shade as possible. It is quite dark, so I am a little bit scared, but I'll push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit and try and get a few fun uses out of that. At the minute, I'm not working anyway, so I'll just play around and find a look that I can wear in the day. But yeah, this is going to be one of the focus shades, and then the other focus shade is going to be the shade again, Cloudberry, because I don't think I'll be able to hit pan. Like, I don't think I'm close enough to hit pan, but I would like to get a fair amount of use on this. I would like to use this at least 10 times in the next update, which I think is very doable because this is a very wearable shade. So there's not really any reason for me to not do that. So I will probably get less use on this one, but I'm hoping to get at least 10 uses on this one. So those are going to be my 2 focus shades, and then hopefully this palette will start to look a lot more used. I don't think we'll have any new pans in the next update, but who knows, maybe I'll surprise myself. Hopefully we'll just expand a lot of these pans that I already have, and hopefully get a bit more use on some of the other shades that have been quite neglected in the previous updates. So I will bear that in mind when I'm doing my makeup. But yeah, that is everything that I have to update you guys on. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Hopefully it kind of went with the flow of how I used to do these videos. Honestly, I've not filmed one of these updates in a hot minute, so I have kind of forgotten. So bear with me, guys. Let me know your feedback in the comments below. if you want to see more of these updates, because I promise I am going to get back to a little bit more of a normal routine now, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss when I post new videos every Monday and Saturday, and sometimes I sprinkle in a few surprise videos here and there. Make sure you leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being so patient with me, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.